Hello, this is Sean Teacher. I'd like to welcome you back to another presentation. Today we'll be talking about the American painter Winslow Homer. Now, Winslow Homer was born in the year 1836 and he lived until the year 1910. And he began his professional career as a lithographer, a kind of printer for magazines. And somewhere in his career as a young man, he was asked to go and make illustrations of battle scenes in the Civil War, the American Civil War. And among many of the things that he made for the magazine Harper's Weekly, he made this illustration, and it was called the Sharpshooter. It was made in the year 1862, and it captured the American public's interest. Whenever people saw this, they were amazed at how someone could shoot from such a far distance, and it lent a lot of credibility to Winslow Homer's reputation as an artist. So because of this, he kind of got famous. Later, about a year later, he even made a painting of it. And yes, it was very well accepted, so lots of people like this painting. So Winslow Homer went on to make lots of paintings of army life, soldiers, even scenes of battles. And once again, it helped him to gain credibility as just a professional artist, a painter, if you will. He painted everyday scenes of army life, and later went on to paint other things for which he became very famous for. Here we see these two soldiers just enjoying a break. So after he became accepted as a professional painter, he was known for making many paintings of everyday life. He painted many scenes of farmers making hay, for example. Here is another one where someone's just returned from the field from cutting hay. He also liked to show everyday life. And here you see some very fancy women and one gentleman playing croquet, which was quite a game back in the 19th century. Um, I even remember as a child, very old adults playing this game in my hometown. But it seems to have lost favor over time. Anyway, Winslow Homer made many paintings of people playing croquet. He was also famous for painting beach scenes, people going to the beach. And as you can see, going to the beach in 1869 looked very different from going to the beach in sort of the way we do today. And here's another beach scene. This is taken in England. So he visited England for a while, and he noticed beach life in England was just a little different than it was in the United States. Here we see school life. So this is what it was like for children to be educated back in 1871. It looks very different from the schools we attend today, doesn't it? And Winslow Homer was also known for making rescue type paintings. He liked to show adventure at sea. And here we see some man rescuing some woman from some peril in the middle of a big storm. It's quite exciting because he's sort of lazy water on this sort of pulley and rope, and he's somehow rescued this poor woman who's suffered some tragedy. And here is one more of Winslow Homer's most famous paintings. It's called Breezing Up, and it sort of shows kind of how relaxed kids can be when they're out just having fun. And strangely enough, back then, young boys could go get in the boat and just go sailing out in the ocean. They knew how to sail. But the other thing that I want to point out here is that this is an oil painting. And Winslow Homer was known for doing oil paintings and watercolors. So if you look here, you'll see Winslow Homer's oil painting of Breezing Up. And although it's not titled the same, Sailing the Catboat is pretty much the same painting, except here we see it is watercolor. And while watercolor may seem very easy, it's really not. And something that probably most people don't realize about watercolor, most of the white that you see on the page isn't really paint. It's the color of the paper. So it kind of is how much you don't paint to make it look good. And probably the most famous thing that Winslow Homer is known for are his paintings of boats and ships and ocean life. So here we see one called Three Schooners. And a schooner is a kind of boat, or ship, as it were. It's interesting, too, because when you think of ships today, they all have engines. And in 1880, as you see by the date there, everything was powered by sails.